Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ringside Wrestling Entertainment. This is Joel Perez here for another edition of your weekly episodic news show. This is Behind the Mic, and it is Behind the Mic episode number 48. Thank you very much for joining me here today, ladies and gentlemen, as we talk about all the biggest news stories in the WWE for the week. And clearly, one news story that has had a lot of people laughing this week with Roman Reigns saying that he is the best in-ring performer in the world right now. That one is really funny. Right there, we're going to be talking about that hilariosity right here on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel here today, as well as Vince McMahon being behind the Woken Matt Hardy character after hearing the crowd reaction that we heard this past Monday on Raw. We have a top WWE superstar suffering possibly a career-ending injury, a major star making a WWE return to Smackdown Live. We have news on Rich Swann being charged with battery of his wife, which is the most latest breaking news that we have here today, and shocking news as well. And Vince McMahon being really unhappy with the in-ring work of Bray Wyatt. We've got all that news and so much more here today on Behind the Mic. But before we do get into that, like always, I want to tell you guys to make sure to go check out all the other content on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel, because there is so much other content to go check out. Of course, this past week, you had your Monday Night Raw and Smackdown reviews on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. Two very good reviews right there, talking about everything that happened on those shows. Behind the Mic, your weekend presentation right there. We had that on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel last week. Behind the Mic, episode number 47. Of course, this is episode number 48, but we were talking huge news on there. Royal Rumble and what's going on going into the Royal Rumble with Brock Lesnar, him possibly going into a triple threat match, and John Cena, news on him being sued by Ford Motors for not going through on a deal. So those were the top news stories on Behind the Mic last week. Make sure to go check that out. Still very relevant news on there, so make sure to go check that out, as well as content coming on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. This coming week, we have the failure of a show that is going to be Clash of Champions. We're going to be reviewing that, and on Thursday this coming week, there's going to be preview and predictions for Clash of Champions, as well as after Clash of Champions, we're going to be starting our end of the year discussions, and of course, the way we do our end of the year discussions right here on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel is through top 10s. We're going to be doing top 10s right here on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel, talking about the top 10 matches of the year. Probably the biggest news video, the biggest top 10 we're going to be doing right there, talking the top 10 best matches of 2017. We're going to be talking the top 10 best wrestlers of 2017, top 10 worst wrestlers of 2017, top 10s among those lines. There's probably going to be about 5 top 10s, especially the 3 that I just mentioned, probably being the 3 biggest top 10s that we're going to be doing right here on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel, and that's going to be the week after next week that we're going to be starting that after Clash of Champions, which will be the final WWE pay-per-view of the year. So there's a lot of content coming, and the best way to get that content, to stay tuned to this channel, is to subscribe to the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. But that's not the only way. You can, of course, click on that notification bell. If you haven't subscribed, if you haven't clicked on that notification bell, I honestly do not know what you're waiting for. Make sure to click on both of those to get those videos straight to your subscription box, of course, when YouTube wants to work, and to get notified every time a video goes. You get that through push notification every time a video goes up. You'll get that right there. You can also go follow the Twitter account where we live tweet with Raw, SmackDown's pay-per-views, NXT takeovers. Pretty much whenever WWE goes live, we're on that Twitter account, and it also notifies you through there when I upload. So make sure to go leave a follow. Twitter account of the same name, Ringside Wrestling. So make sure to go check that one out right there, as well as go check out the description, bro. Go check out the description. You'll get links to the last 10 videos on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel, so you can be up to date with all the content on here. And of course, I'm going to be leaving a question. We've just started this week. I'm going to be leaving a question down below in the comment section below. We're going to be asking you who you think is the best in-ring performer, not just in the WWE, but in the world today. Clearly, Roman Reigns saying that he is the best in-ring performer. Who do you think is the best in-ring performer? If I honestly had to say, and if I honestly had to pick, I would say AJ Styles. I would say AJ Styles. But you guys, go down to that comment section. I'm going to leave the question. Leave a reply. Tell me who you think is the best in-ring performer in the world today. So make sure to do that. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I want you guys to stay tuned because we're going to be going straight into the news story. And we start off here, ladies and gentlemen, with this news story on Roman Reigns. And Roman Reigns making everybody universally laugh in one moment as they read this news story. Let me say this one more time. Roman Reigns says he is WWE's best performer in the world. I'm sorry. It's just too hilarious. After main eventing 3 consecutive WrestleManias, WWE Intercontinental Champion Roman Reigns isn't lacking in terms of confidence. On the debut episode of WWE Network's Straight to the Source with Corey Graves on Monday night, Reigns offered a lofty self-assessment. You know, I'm the best performer in ring in the world right now. You can go to my matches and my pay-per-views over the last 3 years, and you can say I'm an idiot, or you can be like, man, he's got a point. You know what I mean? When asked by Graves if he is WWE's top guy, Reigns responded, every day of the week. It has been apparent for the past few years that WWE has been grooming the big dog to take over for John Cena as the company's unquestioned franchise player. That began at WrestleMania 31 when Reigns faced Brock Lesnar in the main event, and it has continued since, with Reigns beating Triple H to close WrestleMania 32 and handing The Undertaker only the second WrestleMania loss of his storied career at WrestleMania 33. Reigns recently beat The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship, but the overarching expectation is that he will be in the mix to main event yet another showcase of the Immortals in the form of WrestleMania 34 next year in New Orleans. There is no doubt, based on the manner in which Reigns is positioned, that he is WWE's go-to guy, but his declaration that he is the best in-ring worker in the world could cause a major uproar among wrestling purists. AJ Styles, Seth Rollins, and Finn Balor are widely considered the best in-ring performers in WWE, while the likes of Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada received worldwide recognition for their showings in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Reigns has put on some memorable and entertaining matches in recent years, however, including bouts with Lesnar, Styles, and Daniel Bryan, among others. Regardless of whether the wrestling masses are in agreement with Reigns, WWE clearly believes it has a megastar on its hands, and he will continue to be presented as such in the years to come. Now, Roman Reigns, let me just get this straight off the bat. Roman Reigns has the right to believe that he is the best in-ring performer in the world. I mean, just look at the position he's in the WWE. He has clearly been handed the proverbial keys to the kingdom. It's clear he has the right to say this. He probably himself believes this. It is probably the truth that Roman Reigns believes this. But my main belief when it comes to Roman Reigns saying this, you just got to look at where he said it to find the reason why Reigns came out to this interview and said this. This straight to the source, or whatever the hell the show is called, with Corey Graves. It was debuting after Monday Night Raw. Clearly, it had this big guest in Roman Reigns on there to get this show views. You're getting this on the WWE Network, and you want people talking about this show. You want this show to be creating buzz. You want buzz around the WWE Network. What other way can you do this than to have a quote-unquote polarizing figure like Roman Reigns come on here on this show and say this? I'm the best in-ring performer in the world. Is that true? Hell no, it's not true. I can name a handful of guys in the WWE who are better than Roman Reigns. It's simple. It's simple. You look at an AJ Styles. I mean, you can't compare the two. You cannot compare a Roman Reigns to an AJ Styles. I'll even tell you that Seth Rollins is better than Roman Reigns. I'll tell you Finn Balor is better than Roman Reigns. I'll tell you that I'll take a Neville. I'll take a Neville over a Roman Reigns inside that ring. You look at NXT, I'll take an Aleister Black over Roman Reigns. I'll take a Drew McIntyre over Roman Reigns. Andrade Cien Almas, Johnny Gargano. How is Roman Reigns going to compare in that ring to these guys? You look at SmackDown Live, Shinsuke Nakamura, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn. You got Ty Dillinger on there, Rusev. I mean, all these guys in ring are better than Roman Reigns, in my opinion. And they probably are in your opinion as well. Roman Reigns is not an in-ring general. That's clear. That is clear. But he clearly says this to get buzz around this show and to get people talking. And look, it worked. Everybody's been talking about this the past week. Everybody's wanted everybody to talk about this, to give their opinions on this, on Roman Reigns saying this. You got buzz around the show. WWE accomplished what I believe they wanted to do, and that is to get buzz around this new network show and to get buzz around the WWE Network in general. And while they're at it, have Roman Reigns get more buzz around him as well. Have Roman Reigns get more buzz around himself as well. That's probably what WWE wanted to do with this, and they accomplished that. Is it true? Hell no. It's not true. Roman Reigns, you look at him, he's not a ring general. He cannot carry somebody to a good match. You look at the past two matches he's had on Monday Night Raw, I would tell you that Jason Jordan had to carry Roman Reigns to a good match. Jason Jordan got 85% of the offense in that matchup, and Roman Reigns had like one or two small comebacks, and in the end he had that one big comeback where he does his Samoan drop, the drive-by, the Superman punch, and the spear, and bada boom shakalaka, we can all go home happy, right? Or at least that's the way WWE wants you to think, right? That Roman Reigns is this amazing in-ring athlete. Elias, you look at him a couple weeks ago on Monday Night Raw, or 2 weeks ago it was on Monday Night Raw. I would say Elias brought Roman Reigns to a good match. I wouldn't say that Roman Reigns carried that matchup. In-ring generals are guys like a Kevin Owens, a Sami Zayn, an AJ Styles, a Neville. You look at a Finn Balor perhaps. These guys are in-ring generals. A Roman Reigns, he's not an in-ring general. A John Cena, he's not an in-ring general. These guys, if they're not in there with somebody who knows what they are doing, are not going to put on a good matchup. And you've seen that when Roman Reigns and John Cena stepped in the ring. That match was not good. That match was not good. But when Roman Reigns stepped in there with AJ Styles, when Roman Reigns stepped in there with Daniel Bryan, when Roman Reigns stepped in there with a guy like Seth Rollins, they put on a damn good matchup. They put on a damn good matchup. They really, really did. But Roman Reigns is not going to bring anybody to a good match. Roman Reigns isn't going to have a match with Jinder Mahal on Smackdown Live for the WWE Championship and put on a good match with Jinder Mahal, a guy who can barely wrestle. He's not going to do that, and it's clear. Roman Reigns is not the best in the world. If he wants to say that, sure, that's what Roman Reigns is. That's what Roman Reigns is supposed to be, and this is why I suggest so much that you turn this guy heel, because this guy is naturally an asshole. That is what Roman Reigns is. I look at Roman Reigns, I listened to Roman Reigns speak, and I think that this guy is an asshole. And that's a lot of the reason why people boo him, as well as the fact that he's really been given the keys to the kingdom instead of earning the keys to the kingdom in a lot of ways. Every time that Roman Reigns has been in a situation where he can't get himself over, WWE has given him something. Oh, he's not getting cheered? Let's put him with the Shield. He's not getting cheered? Let's have The Rock go out to the Royal Rumble and raise his hand up and get booed anyways, bro. Let's give him a win over John Cena. Let's give him a win over The Undertaker. Let's give him a win over Daniel Bryan, over this guy, over the next guy, until he gets over. And it's been that jamming down the throat. But along with that, on top of all that, Roman Reigns is a genuine asshole. And him saying something like this is not that out of character. That's what Roman Reigns is. And he was just trying to, first of all, get more heat on himself. And on top of that, get some eyes on this new WWE Network show and around the WWE Network itself. So I don't think this is something to go crazy over. But realistically, it got people talking. It accomplished what WWE wanted it to accomplish. For now, let's move on here to the next news story. And we move on here to this story, which has come completely out of left field, seemingly, with Rich Swann. Rich Swann has been arrested for domestic battery of his wife. And this is a very, very interesting situation, to say the least. Let's read the article here and then I'll give you my opinion on it. Wrestler Rich Swann is being held without bail in a Florida jail after he was arrested and charged with battery and false imprisonment. Swann, who is 26 and a former WWE Cruiserweight Champion, was arrested Saturday. WWE released a statement about Swann on Sunday, saying WWE has zero tolerance for matters involving domestic violence, and per our policy, Rich Swann has been suspended indefinitely following his arrest, it said. According to Gainesville police, Swann was arguing with his wife, who is also a wrestler. His wife, whose name is Benera Riggs. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but that's what I read. But she goes by the name of Sue Young. She is a wrestler. She had wrestled earlier in the evening in the Northwest Florida city. The couple lives in Orlando. A police report said Swann critiqued her performance and the pair began arguing. A witness told police that Riggs jumped out of Swann's slowly moving car. The report says the witness also saw Swann put Riggs in a headlock and dragged her back to his vehicle. Riggs screamed for help as Swann put her back in the car. The officer wrote in the report. The car drove off and a witness saw Riggs exit the vehicle a second time. Riggs told officers that she was afraid of Swann because he has a temper sometimes. She added that she was trying to get away from him so the argument wouldn't escalate into physical violence. Swann told officers that he didn't touch his wife and that she got into the car on her own. Swann will appear in court Monday. No attorney is listed in county records. So that is the situation, and this has seemingly come out of nowhere. Now, clearly, you know Rich Swann's history. If you watch the Cruiserweight Classic, he had a rough upbringing, and maybe that has to do with the anger issues. I don't know, but as far as what I'm here to talk about, I'm here to talk about what this has to do with what's going on in the WWE. First of all, this has come at the worst possible moment for Rich Swann, because this Monday, he is going to be in a Cruiserweight Championship #1 contender match against Drew Gulak, and now it's seemingly, well, he has to be in court on Monday instead of being at Monday Night Raw, which is in Cleveland, Ohio. So he's clearly not going to be able to make Monday Night Raw, and even if he were, he's suspended. He is suspended, is Rich Swann, from the WWE for an indefinite amount of time. So as far as what WWE is going to do with that #1 contender Cruiserweight matchup, that is a mystery right now. What I'm guessing they'll do is either they'll just give the matchup to Drew Gulak, or they'll have Cedric Alexander be the one to fight Drew Gulak this Monday, which would be a lot better. And perhaps we can see Enzo Amore versus Cedric Alexander instead of seeing Drew Gulak versus Enzo Amore, which really just nobody wants to see at all. Even if anybody even wants to see the cruiserweights to begin with. So that's one thing. Second, this is a very unfortunate situation for all parties. First of all, Rich Swann, if you are representing a company like the WWE, I don't know why it would even come into your mind why this would even happen, bro. First of all, why would you criticize your wife's performance? I mean, realistically, aren't you there to support your wife? Why would that turn into an argument? I mean, are you kidding me? And then to get violent over it, to get physical over it, I feel like it just realistically was a very irrational thing to do, and Rich Swann could possibly serve jail time, and this could possibly be the end of Rich Swann's WWE career, which is unfortunate because aside from his personal life, this guy is very, very talented inside the ring. He really, really is. Probably one of the best cruiserweight performers that WWE has. As a matter of fact, I'd take Rich Swann over Roman Reigns inside the ring. But if this is the type of thing, if this is the type of illegal thing he is going to be doing in his personal life, abusing his wife, that's really not something that should be condoned in any circumstance. And WWE realistically probably is going to fire Rich Swann and let him go despite his talent, which is an unfortunate situation. Which is a very, very unfortunate situation. But, I mean, that's just the way I see this going. That's just the way I see this going. WWE, and I see people commenting on this, that the Cruiserweight division is so god-awful that it's driving people to leave, walk out of WWE, just leave the WWE and go back into the indie scene, and now it's caused Rich Swann to do this. I wouldn't say this has anything to do with his positioning. If anything, this has to do with the difficult upbringing of Rich Swann. Losing his mother and father at a very young age is, I believe, what the story was in the Cruiserweight Classic, if you do go back and watch that. So, I mean, this could possibly stem all the way back to that. I don't know, but Rich Swann doesn't seem like he's going to be having a career for much longer inside of the WWE, and he's going to have to work his way back up there in the future. But with a situation like this, WWE doesn't want to be associated with any of this, and it's going to be interesting to see if Rich Swann is fired and if he can even make his way back into the WWE in the future. For now, we move on here to news on our favorite walkout. That is, of course, Neville and him making a major return to the WWE. Not on 205 Live, not on Monday Night Raw, but on Smackdown Live. With WrestleMania 34 coming up and major names like Bill Goldberg and Batista being rumored to make their returns to WWE television, the expectation is Raw will be getting more star power, especially with the 25th anniversary show coming up in January. However, another huge star could be making their return to WWE programming before the end of 2017 after leaving the company disgruntled roughly 2 months ago. Former WWE Cruiserweight Champion Neville walked away from WWE and asked for his release from the company. There have been rumors about him working out a return to television with WWE officials, but he hasn't made his return to Monday Night Raw or 205 Live for the past 2 months. It's been reported that a new round of talks have also fallen through between the two sides, but his return plans have been revealed. It's now being reported that WWE officials are hoping to bring Neville to SmackDown Live instead of back to 205 Live or Raw because they want to separate him from the Cruiserweight division entirely. On paper, the man that gravity forgot on Raw would be too familiar since the Cruiserweights still have a couple matches on the show every week. 205 Live does air after SmackDown Live, but it's a better spot for Neville. If Neville and WWE officials can eventually work out a deal to get him back on WWE television, he should be featured on SmackDown Live. Unfortunately, there is no confirmation that Neville is prepared to return to the company. The former king of the Cruiserweights will have more opportunities if he returns, but his character was a full-blown heel when he walked out. On paper, he could be featured as a babyface or a heel. His character gained a ton of momentum as a heel in the Cruiserweight division, and he could continue that run on SmackDown Live, especially against the current WWE Champion AJ Styles. Ooh, WWE may not be willing to give him such a huge push upon return, since he did walk out on the company. For Neville, the matter at hand is for him to wait for his WWE deal to expire or to return to SmackDown Live and finish his run with the company on much better terms. Now, how Neville chooses to end his WWE career is up to him. I say WWE goes full force with this guy. Have it be so this guy wants to return to WWE, wants to sign another deal before his deal does inevitably expire, bro. I say you bring this guy back in the best way possible, because Neville is deserving and he is that damn good, and WWE did do this guy wrong. They really, really did. You had this guy losing the Cruiserweight Championship to Enzo Amore. You did him dirty, WWE. And I think this is great for Neville to have done, because it really did put WWE in their place that they are not the overall power. They are not what rules you, bro. If you're being done dirty by the WWE, if they are booking you like garbage, you need to take a stance. Neville was above the Cruiserweight division. He felt he needed an upgrade, and that's exactly what he gets if this report is true. He returns to SmackDown Live. I say you have an ample opportunity to put this guy in the WWE Championship picture into the Royal Rumble against AJ Styles, and you give us a match of the year 2018 candidate at the Royal Rumble. Neville versus AJ Styles, dream match, WWE Championship, WWE, book it, bro. That is the best way you can go. That is the best way you can go. Realistically, there's nobody to challenge on SmackDown Live for that WWE Championship. You look at Shinsuke Nakamura, you're saving him for WrestleMania 34, and he's probably going to be winning the WWE Championship at WrestleMania 34 and the Royal Rumble. So he's booked. He is booked. You got Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in an entirely different program with Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan, and they could serve use inside the Royal Rumble matchup itself. Baron Corbin is holding the United States Championship. Randy Orton seems to be tied up with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And on top of that, nobody wants to see Randy Orton in the WWE Championship picture. It just doesn't make sense with the way Randy Orton has been booked. You bring Neville back, you do it, and you can have a match of the year candidate on your hands. You can put Neville in something that he will feel important. He's going to feel important. He's going to say, I'm in the main event picture. I want to sign. I want to keep going with WWE. If this is the type of work that I could be producing, I think they finally realize my value. That's the type of the mindset that you need to put on Neville. You need to say, I think WWE has finally realized my value. Have Neville go into a program going into the Royal Rumble against AJ Styles on SmackDown Live for that WWE Championship, bro. Realistically, putting him on SmackDown Live is the best thing you can do. Raw is full of fucking sharks, bro. That's what Raw's full of. Brock Lesnar is your Universal Champion. Roman Reigns is your Intercontinental Champion. The Cruiserweight division, Hideo Itami, Enzo Amore, all the guys you got down there, they already got that done. Raw is full of talent. Samoa Joes, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, Braun Strowman's. Neville isn't going to fit into that. He's really, really not. The best thing you're going to have to do with Neville is have him feuding with The Miz on Monday Night Raw. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to see that. You put this guy on SmackDown Live, he is WWE Championship caliber. You can have this guy, even if you don't want to go with the WWE Championship, you can put him against Bobby Roode. Have Bobby Roode win the United States Championship. Imagine that. Bobby Roode versus Neville. AJ Styles versus Neville. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Neville. The matches that present themselves are not only fresh, but they could be match of the year candidates, and that's something I want to see. I want to see dream matches, and Neville presents a lot of dream matches. This guy is valuable. WWE needs to realize that. Neville is valuable. He is fantastic in that ring. Like I said, I will take Neville over a Roman Reigns, and it doesn't seem like WWE has been doing that, and it seems like Neville knows that. Thus why he walked out. Give this guy a prime position. Make him feel wanted. Do the right thing, WWE, because you know this guy is talented, and that's why WWE has held his contract. That's why they haven't released him, because they know Neville is talented, but they do not have a position for him on Monday Night Raw. And was he to show up on Smackdown Live and challenge AJ Styles, not only would that be television gold, a heel Neville versus a face AJ Styles, it would be in-ring match of the year gold. So that is the best thing you can do. Put us past this garbage with Jinder Mahal on SmackDown Live and have us go into a proper AJ Styles title reign where AJ Styles is in a program that is the top of SmackDown Live and is in a program where we know the end result is an amazing, scratch that, phenomenal matchup, because I know that's what Neville is capable of, and I know that's what AJ Styles is capable of. WWE, bucket. For now, we move on here to probably one of my favorite things going on in the entirety of the WWE right now. Probably my favorite thing in WWE right now, and that is Broken or Awoken or Woken, whatever the hell you want to call him. Woken Matt Hardy. His debut was nailed on Monday Night Raw, exactly how it should have been. And Vince McMahon is reportedly behind Broken Matt Hardy after a huge crowd reaction on Raw. After some WWE rumors started spreading last week that claimed that Vince McMahon was not behind the Woken Matt Hardy gimmick, it turns out those rumors were reportedly false. According to Sports Illustrated, McMahon is a significant proponent of the character and is completely behind Hardy when it comes to putting this entire gimmick together. While some might wonder why McMahon is such a huge fan of a gimmick, the WWE had nothing to do with creating. IW Nerd reported on Friday that showed how loud the crowd reaction was when the Woken Matt character made its debut on Monday Night Raw this past week. 2 weeks ago, Matt Hardy lost a match to Bray Wyatt on Monday Night Raw and grew angry and frustrated after the loss. He sat in the corner and started yelling over and over again, "Delete," while slashing the bottom ropes with his arm. The crowd loved it and chanted "Delete" along with Hardy. That was a good sign that the Woken Matt Hardy gimmick would work. However, the official debut of Woken Matt Hardy came this past week on Monday Night Raw, and it wasn't a live appearance but a surprise video on the Titantron. It all started as a basic Bray Wyatt video where he talked about Matt Hardy. As heard in the fan shop video from Monday Night Raw, a lot of fans in the audience were talking about Matt Hardy showing up. What they might not have expected was that Woken Matt Hardy would interrupt the actual Bray Wyatt video. And what could have failed due to it being a pre-recorded video, Woken Matt Hardy was a huge success. Fans were quiet during Bray Wyatt's speeches, but went nuts when Matt Hardy appeared on the screen. The fans seemed to love it when Hardy went nuts in the video, especially his manic laughing. By the end of the video, the entire crowd was chanting "Delete" and was extremely loud in response to the long-awaited gimmick's arrival. There was a lot of concern that Matt Hardy would never get to use his broken gimmick in the WWE since Impact Wrestling owned the rights. However, 2 weeks ago, Impact Wrestling announced they changed their stance on wrestlers using their gimmicks when leaving the company. This allowed the Woken Matt Hardy gimmick to show up in the WWE, and they are still running with it. Sports Illustrated that their contract in the WWE informed them that Vince McMahon will allow Matt Hardy the creative license to establish his character since he already had success with it. WWE has always seemed to view Jeff Hardy as a top star, and this is Matt's chance to prove he is a main event talent as well, at least when it comes to his Woken Matt Hardy gimmick. This is absolutely fantastic. There were reports coming out that Vince McMahon was not happy with this gimmick, and that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Vince McMahon does not like bringing in gimmicks, bringing in ideas that were not created by Vince McMahon. Thus why a lot of NXT stars have been nixed and have been ruined on the main roster, because Vince McMahon loves to get salty over Triple H creating these amazing characters for these guys who come into NXT, and then when they come up to the main roster, he loves to just say, yeah, we're not doing that. I mean, just look at Bo Dallas, the Bo Leave. All of it worked, and then you came to the main roster, and you made him a bona fide jobber, and you ruined that. Yep, now he's part of the Miztourage, doing pretty much nothing on Monday Night Raw. And I'm surprised that Vince McMahon has allowed Matt Hardy to run with this. Because if there was one thing that was concerning about the Matt Hardy gimmick, or Woken Matt Hardy, or Broken Matt Hardy gimmick coming to the WWE, it was the fact that this is WWE booking. WWE loves to ruin things, and it still could be ruined. But right now it's looking very, very good. It really, really is looking very, very good for Matt Hardy and his gimmick, and I appreciate that. I really, really do. I can also see Vince McMahon, instead of saying, nah, yeah, we're not doing that, I didn't make that, so I don't want to do it, I could also see him saying, alright, let's do it, but let's do it better. I can very, very well see Vince McMahon saying that. So maybe that's what the actual thing was. He said, let's do it, but let's do it better. And maybe he did say that, but he wasn't sure how the gimmick would be perceived until we did get that reaction in Los Angeles this past Monday night on Monday Night Raw, and we got the reaction that Vince McMahon was hoping this would get, and now Vince McMahon is ready to roll, and that's fantastic news. That's fantastic news, because that means Vince McMahon is going to be more invested in the gimmick, and when Vince McMahon is invested in something, he can write great television. He was invested last year in that Brock Lesnar and Goldberg angle, and we saw some great stuff from that angle, whether you liked it or not. I personally did not enjoy it too much because of Brock Lesnar and Goldberg not being able to do much at all in that ring. There was a very small limit to what they were going to be able to do, and we saw that, but he did write some great television. That feud was cool to see. It really, really was. So hopefully he can get invested in this. Hopefully he'll give some creative power. And you know what? This is great for Matt Hardy, because usually he is that guy who can't get off his feet with the single stuff. Usually it is Jeff Hardy who is in the eyes of WWE as the singles competitor, and Matt Hardy's just left behind, drifting away, doing nothing. He invented this gimmick in order to stop that. He invented this gimmick to get out of this lull that his career was in, and it worked gangbusters, and I have no doubt that it's going to work gangbusters in the WWE, provided that they give some type of creative freedom to Matt Hardy, who truly does know what this gimmick is, and provided that they allow this gimmick to go to the heights that it can, to a world championship reign, to an intercontinental championship reign, instead of having this feud or this gimmick do nothing and just be all catchphrases and hype and blah blah blah, and Matt Hardy does this and he's in this feud, but he's never winning title gold. He's never doing anything of great significance on television. Hopefully he is in a main capacity on Raw. Hopefully he is challenging for titles. Hopefully he is winning titles, because that's the type of gimmick this is. This is a gimmick that is going to do gangbusters for WWE. It's going to do great sales for merchandise, no doubt about it. And especially if you do bring in Rebby Hardy, if you bring in King Maxwell, King Maxwell, if you bring in Vanguard One, if you bring in Senor Benjamin, I'm sure that this gimmick is going to be the hottest commodity in the WWE, because that's what it was for TNA. That's what it was for the whole wrestling industry this time last year. It was the hottest thing going on in the wrestling industry, and I'm sure WWE lets this guy run. It's going to be the same thing this time around, but just on a grander scale in the WWE. So I'm glad Vince McMahon is behind the gimmick because, quite honestly, he should be. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. For now, let's move on to the next news story. We, of course, have this news story on a top WWE superstar suffering from a career-ending injury, and that is, of course, Sheamus. The Celtic Warrior is one of the most decorated performers in WWE history. His accomplishments are vast, but some fans forget how much Sheamus has achieved during his 11 years with the company. Sheamus will be returning 40 next month, and some people have wondered how much longer he will wrestle. But a new report is claiming that the Celtic Warrior's wrestling career may come to an end sooner than expected. It's being reported that Sheamus has been dealing with some serious neck issues for the past 6 months or so, which have been diagnosed as spinal stenosis. He's been rehabbing his neck for quite some time, and he even took a brief hiatus to recover in his home country of Ireland. Spinal stenosis is a serious injury that has shortened and ended the wrestling careers of WWE Hall of Famers Edge and Stone Cold Steve Austin. On paper, the injury means that Sheamus will require neck surgery at some point. His rehab could extend his wrestling career for years to come, but it's highly likely that his neck will give him serious issues sooner or later. The Celtic Warrior may need to take significant time away from the ring, just as Nikki Bella is doing right now, but a single bad bump or botched move could result in the WWE or in the official end of Sheamus's WWE career. At this point, it's unclear what the future holds for the Celtic Warrior's career in the WWE. Eventually, his neck issues will catch up to him, but the hope is that won't happen in the ring. Cesaro and Sheamus are the Raw Tag Team Champions, and their reign will most likely continue into 2018. The two men have gelled into one of WWE's best tag teams, and it seems their run is going to continue through WrestleMania 34 and beyond. Now, I'm not sure about that, but continuing on here, Sheamus' neck will be a hot topic going forward. It's likely he could start wrestling a more limited schedule in the future after he and Cesaro drop the tag team titles down the line. Hopefully his career doesn't have to end with a severe injury in the ring, but the WWE Universe should keep an eye on his health. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Sheamus suffering through spinal stenosis, which is actually what took down Edge and Stone Cold Steve Austin, and that just pushed Sheamus, by the way, in a whole new light. I had no idea he was suffering from spinal stenosis, and you really got to give it up to this guy because he is one tough son of a bitch to be dealing with an injury like that and to be able to put on the performances that he's putting on right now. I mean, he's putting on some of the best performances in his entire career is Sheamus, and he's dealing with this career-ending injury. This is what ended the career of two top ballot Hall of Famers in WWE, bro. That is crazy. That really, really is crazy how Sheamus is dealing with such an injury like that, yet he's still able to put on the performances that Stone Cold, or the performances that he is putting on with Cesaro in a tag team, probably putting on the best in-ring performances of his career, probably in the best program that he's been in his entire career. I mean, Sheamus has accomplished a hell of a lot in the WWE. No doubt a Hall of Famer is Sheamus. He is a Grand Slam champion, I do believe, in the WWE, or he's missing, I believe, the Intercontinental Championship, and he'd be a Grand Slam champion. Money in the Bank winner, Royal Rumble winner. I mean, I think he and Edge are the only two men to be like WWE Champion, Money in the Bank, Royal Rumble, and King of the Ring. So him and Edge are the only two guys to have ever done that. This guy has accomplished a lot in his career. Multi-time tag team champion, multi-time world heavyweight champion, or world champion in the WWE. He's held the mid-card titles. He's done it all in the WWE. Like I said, Royal Rumble, Money in the Bank, King of the Ring, all that great stuff. Sheamus has done that, and he's had a very, very good career. Of course, ups and downs. But if Sheamus were to retire, I mean, it would be unfortunate, but WWE, or Sheamus, does have a life after WWE. He really, really does. I mean, he was already in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie playing, I forget, I think he was playing Rocksteady He was playing one of those two, a Bebop or Rocksteady. I'm not sure which one it was, but he was playing one of those in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, which is a great role. He can go into the movies, bro. He can go back to his home, Ireland, and spend some time there with his family. Realistically, Sheamus does have things to do after he leaves the WWE. I do believe I've heard him say in interviews that he'd like to go deeper into the world of movies. I mean, the guy has worked his tail off to get where he is in the WWE. Started off with like Irish or whip wrestling. I'm not even sure what the promotion is called. IWW in Ireland. So that's crazy. So I mean, he's done a lot of things in his career, has Sheamus, but I think it is winding down for him, especially with the fact that, like the article said, one botch away, one bad spot away from taking a serious injury and taking some serious time off from the WWE. And I mean, this might be some news that makes some people optimistic, because Cesaro, you look at Cesaro, that's a singles competitor who a lot of people want to see get a significant singles run and have Sheamus wind down his career and go down the path of retirement. I mean, that can open up the door for Cesaro to go and have that World Championship, Intercontinental Championship run that we want to see this guy have. He is a fantastic in-ring competitor, and he has a whole career ahead of him, does Cesaro, and sooner or later, him and Sheamus, as great as the bar is, are going to have to split up. And I think that's when Sheamus might go winding down his in-ring career. You split up the bar, have Cesaro go on, do his thing as a singles competitor, and perhaps have Sheamus retire before some serious injury goes down that takes him out of WWE for good and takes him out of pretty much anything physical for good. And that's something I'm sure Sheamus doesn't want to go down. So I say 2018, maybe 2019, we might be seeing the retirement of Sheamus, and he's definitely done a lot in his over 10-year career in the WWE. The guy has worked his tail off. He's been physical. Like I said, he's been through them downs. That babyface run was god-awful, and he thinks so himself. He said it in interviews before. But Sheamus has definitely worked his ass off to get where he has gotten in the WWE, and he has done some great things. Tag teams with Cesaro, WrestleMania match against Triple H, WrestleMania matches against Daniel Bryan, guys like that. Beat Daniel Bryan in 18 seconds for a World Heavyweight Championship. John Cena he beat for his first world title. He's done some crazy stuff that a lot of us wish he has done. And to be quite honest, keeping with the theme of the episode, bro, I would take Sheamus in the ring over Roman Reigns. As many of you might not think that. Who do you take? Leave it in the comment section below. Sheamus or Roman Reigns? I say I'd take Sheamus in the ring over Roman Reigns, especially considering what he has done in his latest run with the bar. Hopefully, Sheamus does not encounter a serious injury before he does go and leave and retire from the WWE, because he's had a great career, and I'd hate to see this career end in a miserable fashion with an injury, with the career-ending injuries like Nikki Bella had, like a Stone Cold had, like a Edge had. You remember how tragic Edge's retirement was? Edge was at the peak of his career when he had to go down with retirement. That's the type of injury this guy is dealing with. And Sheamus, this badass, that certainly makes me respect him a lot more. The fact that he's going in there night in and night out and wrestling with such a career-ending injury like that one. So you got to give respect to Sheamus, and he is going to be retiring soon, but he's definitely earned that retirement. For now, we move on to the next news story, and that next news story has to do with the eater of JoJo's pussy, Bray Wyatt. Vince McMahon is really unhappy with a top star's in-ring work, and that top star is Bray Wyatt. This week on Raw, Woken Matt Hardy made his long-awaited debut on WWE television during a dueling promo against Bray Wyatt. Their dynamic is strange yet fun, and the rivalry will carry both men into 2018 with plenty of momentum. Unfortunately, their in-ring work will need to improve because Vince McMahon was very unhappy with the quality of Bray Wyatt's last performance against Matt Hardy during their first match. It's being reported that Vince McMahon was unimpressed with Wyatt's physical condition and thought his work inside the ring was sloppy and Bray looked blown up. It's worth noting that Bray Wyatt suffered the same viral illness that took out Roman Reigns in October, but Wyatt seems to be in worse condition than the boss wants. Vince McMahon could also be coming down harder on him due to his backstage heat. Rumor has it that Bray Wyatt is still in the doghouse with WWE officials after some personal issues became public surrounding his divorce. That resulted in the company receiving some backlash, which has not done Wyatt any favors. However, the rivalry with Woken Matt Hardy may be an opportunity for Bray Wyatt to get back on WWE television consistently, despite the fact that he's likely going to lose the rivalry to Hardy. The majority of the work between Hardy and Wyatt will be done on the microphone. That's not to say their in-ring won't be really important, especially with Vince McMahon watching Wyatt's improvement over the next couple of weeks. However, their dynamic should be at its most twisted and entertaining when the two rivals are exchanging words. The best part of their rivalry will be the characters interacting with each other. Bray Wyatt is facing quite an uphill battle with WWE officials and Vince McMahon. He's trying to get out of the doghouse, but not performing in the ring isn't going to do him any favors. Wyatt should be able to hold his own on the microphone against Hardy, and putting him over should get him to his next big feud heading into WrestleMania season. In time, the Eater of Worlds could be back in the good graces of WWE officials. Bray Wyatt, he just got back from battling viral meningitis. That is a hard illness to be fighting, and Bray Wyatt's still probably dealing with the repercussions of that. I've heard that injury or that sickness drains you. It really does, and you really got to work your way back up from that. Doesn't seem to be affecting Roman Reigns in the same way, so I don't know why Bray Wyatt doesn't seem to be doing as well in the ring. He really hasn't been given an opportunity to put on a better matchup than what we have seen from him. He hasn't been there in the ring for too long. He hasn't been given 20 to 30 minutes like Roman Reigns and Jason Jordan, or Roman Reigns and Elias have been given, or Sasha Banks and Paige this past week on Monday Night Raw. He really hasn't been given an opportunity to showcase his in-ring skill like that has Bray Wyatt. He hasn't been in that matchup where you're going to say, alright, I want to see Bray Wyatt do good in that matchup. There really hasn't been an opportunity for him to put on a good matchup. So I really don't know what this article or Vince McMahon himself is basing this disappointment on. I really don't. And this is just a Vince McMahon type thought. Like, oh, I don't like the way this guy is doing in the ring. Why? Now, I understand where he would have heat on him for letting his divorce become public, for cheating on his wife with JoJo. He is the eater of JoJo's ass, right? He ain't no eater of worlds, right? So, Bray Wyatt is in the doghouse with WWE. I did not know that. But Vince McMahon does not like his in-ring work either. I really don't see where you would be mad. He really hasn't been given a chance to showcase his in-ring work. Now, what he can do in the ring with Matt Hardy, when they do eventually have their blow-off match, then you can base Bray Wyatt's in-ring work. If they put on a bad match, then you can go to Bray Wyatt and say, alright, what happened here? What happened? I am displeased. Then you can go ahead and do that. But to be basing this off of that when Bray Wyatt has barely competed in that ring since getting back, it really makes no goddamn sense to me. So there you go with that one. Bray Wyatt, Vince McMahon, not happy with how he is performing in the ring. So there you go with that one. For now, let's move on to the closing segments of Behind the Mic, episode number 48. For now, ladies and gentlemen, that has been Behind the Mic. I hope you enjoyed each and every single thing that you heard on this edition of Behind the Mic. So many things that we talked about here today, so make sure to subscribe to the Ringside Wrestling channel if you enjoyed my discussion. If you agreed with my opinion, make sure to smash that subscribe button. Make sure to smash that like button. Make sure to go down to the comment section below. Tell me who you think is the best in-ring performer in the world today, and make sure Two, of course, go check out all the other content on the Ringside Wrestling channel. Raw reviews, Smackdown reviews, pay-per-view reviews, NXT TakeOver specials, behind the mic each and every single weekend. And, of course, so much more. Top 10s coming. End of the year, top 10s coming. Right here on the Ringside Wrestling YouTube channel. Over 300 videos for you to go check out. The last 10 of which are in the description below. So make sure to do that. Go check out the Twitter account of the same name, Ringside Wrestling. Because for now, this has been Joel Perez of Ringside Wrestling Entertainment. And for now, I am out of here. Thank you very, very much for watching this video. I will see you next time right here on Ringside Wrestling.